I asked Mother why Nanny called Father Alter. That's what she always called him. I wasn't allowed on the Cyclone, the monster wooden roller coaster at Coney Island. My organs would get shook up too much. Mother made it clear, no Cyclone for me. That thing will shake up your kishkis. I wasn't much for the rides anyway. The first time Father put me inside a metal cage that was part of a miniature fur ass wheel, I was very excited. I thought that was it, the spaceship. Sister sat across from me as the machine screeched and roared into motion. The next thing I would see would be the moon, so close that I could touch it. Instead of flying off into outer space when we reached the top, it started down and then turned around again. It shook back and forth, which was making me sick to my stomach. I had that vomit taste in the back of my throat. I started to yell as I went past, but Father didn't do anything. He stood there with his usual no smile. Sister kept saying, "Stop acting like a baby." By the second time around, Sister was crying and screaming too. When Father saw that, he talked to the spaceman who operated the machine. It had to be in the secret language because the man understood right away. I saw Father slip his hand into his pocket and then give something to the spaceman. Father looked angry when we got off the ride. He said, "I thought you said you wanted to go on it." I had learned never to cross Father, especially not about a ride on a fur-ass wheel. For a while, I still thought that was a spaceship or something to practice on. I was glad I failed the test and I got to sleep in my bed that night instead of disappearing in the sky. I was convinced that Nanny was one of the space people too. When I went to visit her on Sunday after Coney Island, she often said, "Let's get Chinks." That would mean traveling in a car to Eastern Parkway, a strange-looking big road where we stopped to eat lunch with the Chinks. The Chinks, of course, looked like nobody I knew. I never heard of Chinks. The food was unlike anything I had ever eaten. The first time Nanny suggested I try the shrimp and lobster sauce, I cried. Why would I have to eat little people? Was that a space thing? Father tried to sound like the Chink people after they left the table. Nanny did it too. On other visits, when we would skip Coney Island, Mother would come with us to Nanny. Mother liked the Chink food. She always ate the same thing. Barbecue spare ribs. Mother liked to hear Father sound like the Chinks. That would make Nanny and Mother laugh. I laughed too, only out of fear. I was convinced that somehow these Chink people were connected to the space people. The Chinks had their own language too. Even when they tried to speak English, I could tell that they were from another planet. Chink food was different from the Goyisha restaurants. I knew very well by eating in a Goyisha restaurant, I could get diarrhea or diarrhea, and I didn't like diarrhea. I had gotten it a few times, and Mother always blamed the food. The sliced ham must have been bad. Father called it friggin' rancid. It had a nice sound, but it was a bad thing. Nobody ever got diarrhea when we went out to eat with Nanny, even though Nanny would often say that the Chinks were up to no good in the kitchen. Sister and I always laughed when Nanny said that. She had others like, "Those Chinks are a crazy people." She would say this while sucking the last bit of flavor out of a lobster tentacle. Nanny was magic. I could watch her do anything, including sucking the liquid from the tentacle. Father always disappeared, following the Chink waiter into the kitchen. Maybe the Chinks were robots who worked for Father, and he followed them to tell them what to do with the Earth people. Mother and Father had taken me to a real space restaurant called Horn and Hard Art. I cried the moment I saw the large wall filled with things from space movies. I knew that was what was going on. This was where the space people went to eat. It was so big and so many space people. They took me outside and I stopped crying. When I got home, I mentioned to Joey, the houseman, about Horn and Hard Art. He said, "They have good baked beans." But what about those space machines, where the food was kept in little metal boxes? That's the automat. Somehow Joey the houseman's laughter didn't help. I was not going near the Horn and Hard Art.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.